but I have to do a reset due to the fact that I ran personal conveyance across country on a COVID load, and by the time my 10-hour reset was done, there really wasn't any sense in trying to go grab a load. Um, my dispatch is working on something for now. I did just for shits and giggles take a look at Amazon's load board. They do sometimes have stuff leaving here, and so I had I had someone comment and ask a question on my personal Facebook about, how did you figure out where the lanes were? I'll get to that. That's kind of the purpose of this video. But just for the sake of showing what's here, I'm going to change the settings to the way I operate, which is I bring my own trailer. And honestly, I um, I don't move for anyone for less than $1,000. So we'll just set the filter at 950. And here in Reno, let me turn off the refresh because I've watched on other people's videos that gets a little bit frustrating. And excuse the humming in the background. I got my heater going. It is a little chilly here. And so, okay, at 3 in the morning, um, and granted, you know, there isn't anything for today or tomorrow. This is for Thursday. So the first load we see on here is for Thanksgiving Day, and it's currently at over $3 a mile. It's going to Las Vegas. And there's one to Henderson, also at $3, and then this one's for another $3. Not bad pricing, you know, if you don't want to spend Thanksgiving with the family. Actually, the last one's for December 10th. So it's not horrible, but of course, I doubt there's a whole lot of people on the load board right now trying to book something. A lot of people I know are stopped. I'm still trying to get home. So let's talk or figure out how we look at where the best rates, where the best lanes are. This is kind of how I did it. And so we're going anywhere to anywhere, and all of their load boards or all of the areas for you providing your own trailer, across the board there's only 277. Now granted, this should be a slow week, so that kind of explains why there isn't over 1,000, which is the norm. So what you do is you come down here where it says sort by, like right about the center of the screen. Right now it's by start date, so the soonest one is going to be at the top, and that does make the rate a little higher because the sooner the load's going to start, the sooner or the higher the rate's going to be. So there's 473 a mile, there's 310 a mile, there's 347 a mile. But the way I figured out which lanes were better is I used this filter. It's about halfway down the screen, price per distance highest. And so now this is showing the highest price per mile. Now granted, I have my filter set to no less than $1,000. If I were to remove that, you would probably see stuff in the $10 and $12 a mile range. But for, 15, 20, or 30 miles, again, the loads that I feel burn up your whole day and you don't really do much. And if you can operate on 400 or 500 miles a day, if you have your overhead locked down to where, it's just you, your truck is paid for, your trailer's paid for, and because you only run local, your insurance is a little bit cheaper, and you have an older authority, you can do that. Me personally, I own several trucks. My insurance cost is very high. I have people in the office. I have more overhead. So let's look at this. Here is 473 going to Greenwood, Indiana for 271 miles. That loads today at 6 in the morning. So basically, they got it. That's going to be late now because actually in Indiana, it's probably already going to be 6 o'clock. So there's 473. Now the problem is if you accept this right now and it takes you an hour to get there, that'll go down against you as being late. Even though you accepted it really late, they'll mark you down as late. So the next one's 310 a mile. This one's going to Colorado. I can tell you with Amazon, if you go to Colorado, you're not going to find an Amazon load coming out unless you do power only, but of course you would have your own trailer. So there's another one to Greenwood, Indiana for 347 a mile. There's one going to Jersey, for 365 a mile. Now there are some decent loads, but if you look at the start times, these are all like 6 a.m. start times for today, and so you have to be ready to go. There's one for 522 a mile. That's not too bad. I'd jump on that. And so this is how you find the good paying stuff. So obviously Indiana would be something I would look at. That Midwest area has a lot of inbound freight, and it's paying really well. There's Everett, Massachusetts. I did find with Amazon very little leaves that area at a decent price. Um, there's a load going to Brooklyn. I haven't met a driver yet that is willing to go there. I've never driven there, so I can't speak to that. There's another Colorado for 240. There's a Memphis for 240. And so, there are some decent loads. Of course, you have to be ready to load now. And if we look at this next week, I'm pretty sure they're not going to be as abundant because other people have booked them. A lot of companies are short on drivers. And so an area that I kind of favored, I feel it's a decent area for outbound loads, would be the Memphis area. And maybe we'll stretch this out to 150. A little bit outbound of Memphis, Jacksonville, that area. They have a few manufacturing plants out there. Thermos is out there. They make the thermoses. Anyway, so right now there's 32 loads from Memphis going anywhere, and as you can see, there's a load to Greenfield, right, 304 a mile. There's a load leaving Jacksonville, going to Charlotte for $5 a mile. Now I can tell you, if you go to Charlotte for Amazon, you're not going to find an outbound load from Amazon. You're going to have to find a brokered load, a convoy load, something like that. There's just not a whole lot of vendors to Amazon. But for $5.50 a mile, and you can pull this off in a day, I would take that $3,000 and yeah, get myself a load board load leaving there for, whatever, $2 a mile. If it's 500 miles there and 500 miles back, and you got $5 a mile there, and you get $2 coming back, your average is still up in the $3 range, and so for all miles, so that's a worthwhile risk. So there's another one going to Charlotte. There's a load going to Dallas, very well paid. Your typical load's going to Dallas, 12 to 15, $1,600. I will tell you, if you go to FTW1, and let's open this one up, because I've done this load. In fact, I've done this exact load for about half of that. So if you go to FTW1 and you're expected to be there at 10 o'clock at night, odds are you're going to show up a little earlier. You're probably going to get there around 7. And the line's going to be around the building. Anyone that's ever been there, it's going to be around the building and up the next block. You're going to spend a couple hours in line, get to the front of the line, and they're going to tell you you're too early, you have to leave, and you're going to go get in line again. And then by the time you get to the front of the line again, you're going to be late, although the Amazon application won't show you as late. What'll happen is it'll show you as a no-show, and someone will cancel your appointment. So you're 10 o'clock, now you're back there at 1 o'clock in the morning. They canceled your appointment, and they'll schedule you a door for like 5 in the morning, and then they'll probably get you to a door around 7. You'll get out of there around 9. And so again, for 2,600 bucks, I'd still do it personally. But if you have a driver that you're paying by the mile and he only got, 472 miles, he's going to say, well, okay, by the mile, this didn't work out because now I can't work the next day. I can't work on Wednesday. And again, these rates are extremely good right now because it's the week of Thanksgiving. But that's the scenario how one of these play out. And so there's another Memphis to Dallas. This one, as you can see, is a little cheaper, but by this time tomorrow, it will be in the same price range if no one takes it. So there's an Olive Branch, which is basically, it's a sister city to Memphis. You sometimes can't even tell when you cross the border there. Olive Branch to Joliet, Illinois at $227. I'm surprised that hasn't gone up more. There's a couple more. They probably haven't gone up because there's abundance of those loads. So there's one to Fall River. Again, if you go to Massachusetts, you're going to struggle to get out. And so that's one of the areas that I always thought was pretty good. You can always find loads there. Lately, not so much. But let's look at the LA market. I live in Southern California, and so this is how I would get out of town. Usually it's decent. And so Aurora, Colorado, again, Aurora is one of those places that you can get there through Amazon, but you won't get out. You'll have to book something else. Odds are you'll book a load of water or beer, and it's going to be 44,000 pounds, and you're going to climb all the hills, and it's not going to be very well paid. Oregon and Washington State are the same way for Amazon. You'll get there with them, but you won't get out. 481 a mile going to Phoenix is a banging deal. You need to find something leaving Phoenix, which can sometimes be tough. Amazon does have loads leaving Phoenix semi-regularly. They go up to Vegas and they go to Sacramento. Chino to Goodyear, Arizona. That Kentucky load, you're under $2 a mile. I'm not sure I'd be interested in that. There's one going to Stockton, Northern California. But of course, remember, guys, these are all the week of Thanksgiving. A lot of people are parked already, and these loads are expected to load shortly. So the prices are higher. That's how you book with Amazon. You have to book in the middle of the night and pick up what no one else has, and that's where the rates come in. Now, I've done this load also from Compton to Coppell, Texas. Coppell, Texas is right below Dallas area. You can see it's FTW2. Basically, FTW1 and FTW2 are a couple miles from each other. FTW2 is faster to unload, and $3.23 a mile to get you to Dallas isn't bad. 1 day and 2 hours, I think, is a little shy on time. You can make, if you do your logbook legally, you can make it into just before you get to El Paso, Texas on a single shift. It's about an 11-hour drive, plus you have to include the time it takes to load you. And then from there to Dallas is like another 8 hours. So I think on this one, they're shorting you on the time, and it's going to ding your score. So, but still, $4,600 in a couple days, that's That's a worthwhile load. That's something you would jump on. That exceeds my $1,000 a day I want to make per truck. But these are the rates. This is what you'll find, and that's how you find the hotter zones. That's kind of how I search it. Um, if you go back to start date and you remove the filters and you stay in the LA market, let me make sure it didn't change. You know, there are some shorter runs. There's your $10 a mile for 60 miles, um, and they say 3 hours, but I guarantee you're going to sit at ONT6 for about 4 hours. There's $23 a mile, which you would say is great. It's only 18 miles. I've never been to TEN2. I can't speak to them, but the typical scenario is you're going to sit there for a while. Anyways, I hope that answers the question on how you find some of the hotter zones for Amazon. We did over the road, trailer provided, so we would chase the best load on any given day. Based on what I saw out of the LA, we would probably take a load to Dallas, and then from Dallas we would probably try and hook a load to Memphis, and then from Memphis either back to Dallas or up to Chicago. Occasionally we went to the Carolinas, um, but it's tough getting out of there. I'd rather go to Illinois and find something leaving that area, even if it's on a load board, than to go to Charlotte. But having said that, for the price they're paying, $5 a mile, today I would probably take that risk. Anyways, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, comment down below. I'll see what I can do to help you out and make a video specific to your question. Um, I don't do much Amazon anymore, but, you know, if I was in Memphis today and I had friends or family in the Carolinas, I would definitely be booking that load. I still do look just to find, something better than what I'm getting now, but lately it seems like my dispatch service has been doing a better job. Anyways, thanks guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.